I'm sorry that I'm literally serving right now.
The sunset? Are you kidding me?
Oh wait, you're not very well lit.
Do I need to drink more? It's Christmas!
Hi guys! Today I am here with one of my best friends in the whole entire world and the king of book. King of book.
King of book. My job?
His job is book.
It's just book.
I didn't know whether to say tube or talk, but it's more tube.
If you can put book in front of it, I'll be there.
A little bit of both.
Booking.com, love it. Can't get enough. That's why we're in Greece. I just can't get off that website.
And you guys know I've been in my reading era lately. And so who better to get a book recommendation from than the king of book, booking.com, Jack Edwards. So we're in Corfu at the moment, yeah. Elephant in the room. Look how fucking cute the view is.
Hello.
It's me. So yeah, while we were on holiday, I was like, Jack, I want some book recommendations, but I kind of want to be surprised with them. So he's brought them all out to Corfu, and I don't know what I'm reading on my holiday. I'm really excited. I don't want to wait anymore. Just
Are you ready?
Them. Yeah.
Is that the moon?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I love it when you sing.
I love the production value of this channel. I actually enjoyed buying books for you more than I enjoy buying books for myself. So, okay, today we were sitting on the beach having a conversation about how we like unlikable main characters.
Yeah.
And fireworks were going off in my head because the ultimate unlikable main character.
Oh my god,
is
I've
this
heard you
book,
talk about this.
Boy Parts. So it's kind of like the reverse American Psycho. So it's this female photographer who takes pictures of men and then she kills them. True crime baby. And Eliza Clark is a really wonderful, this is her debut and it's like outrageous that this is her debut.
Oh my
because it's
god.
so good and I think you'd love it.
So slay. I support women's rights and women's wrongs.
Damn
I've
right.
literally been saying this
Right.
every day of the holiday because, not because we do women's wrongs at all, but, you know, just in case.
My dear reader, these are not the kind of women's wrongs that we should be supporting. I didn't know what I was endorsing in that last clip. And actually, you might be able to tell, based on all of the extra tattoos that are now covering my body, that that last clip was from a long, long time ago. Actually, it's taken me over a year to read all 3 of these books and review them. I know, it's terrible. Don't even look at me. I'm sorry, Jack, but I've read all 3 of them and I'm here to review them now. Better late than never. Let's start with Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This is Eliza's debut novel and it's the first and only book I've read of hers, but I loved it that much that I ran out and I bought Penance, and I'm so excited to read this because I loved Eliza's writing style. I think she's so funny. I believe she's from the Northeast and the main character of this book is Geordie, and just her sense of humor and the way she talks, like, it's so present in this book. I love it. And there's a lot of like relatable things in that way. I mean, in the very first chapter of this book, the main character has just been on a night out and she's really, really hungover on the way to work. She's on the bus trying not to throw up the meal deal that she's just ate. And I was like, yep. Been there, girl. The premise of this book, the main character is a 20-something-year-old woman named Irina. She is from Newcastle, but I think she's living in London in this book, and she's a photographer. But not just any photographer. She is a fetish photographer. She photographs... That's not the word. She photographs only men, really, and she will scout them just in real life. She'll go on the bus and she'll see a man that looks like quite unique. She likes him like handsome with a teaspoon of ugly. And I get that. I mean, I have an Aquarius Venus. In fact, most of my chart is Aquarius. I like anything that's unique and unconventional. And actually, whenever I remind Jack Manifold of that, he's like, wow, okay, cool. What does that mean about me? I'm like, babe, it's a compliment. And also, you're 22 years old and bald. That is unique. And right now, he's got bleach blonde hair with a chuffing holly leaf dyed in the side of it. Like, what do you want from me? You are unique looking. But anyway, she will go up to these men and she'll be like, hey, I'm a photographer. Let me photographize you. And he'll be like, okay. So she'll give him her card and she'll tell him to come to her studio, which is just her garage. Wait, is that my cat? It's my kitty! Oh. She ran away. Cool. So the men will come round to her house and she will put nipple clamps on them and tie them up and whip them and like stand on their neck in her chuffing stiletto heels, and she'll take photos of it all and sell them. Kind of a girl boss move until Irina starts to slowly lose her mind and she begins abusing and attacking the men that she brings back to photograph. But despite all of that, it is with great shame that I say I kinda love this main character. She is very, very unlikable. She is such a cow, actually. She reminds me a lot of the main character in My Year of Rest and Relaxation, especially the dynamic that she has with her best friend. There's a very similar dynamic in here where she's just kind of always putting her best friend down and she sees herself as so much better just inherently than her best friend. Yeah, the main character in this book does some actually really evil stuff. Like, she goes beyond just an unlikable main character. Like, there's scenes of sexual assault in this book and shit like that. And it's really tricky because she is also a victim too. A lot of the time, she goes through a lot of things where you feel really bad for her, and then you'll turn the page and she'll do something so unnecessarily evil that you're like, girl, I can't keep defending you. Yeah, I would definitely look up the trigger warnings for this one before you read it. There's a lot of stuff about like eating and diet and the way that she looks. She is very, very narcissistic, is the main character. It's very much American Psycho. There's also like some bits in here where the format kind of switches up. It'll go to like her friends' blog posts. So you're getting some of her friends' point of view, which I love when books do that. When they switch point of views, but also when they switch format and when you get like texts or like a letter or like a transcript from an audio and shit like that. I love it when books switch it up a little bit because I get bored easily, I do. All in all, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It is my favourite one out of all of these that Jack recommended. I don't know if I've already told you that. I don't know if that's a bit of a spoiler for this video, but you should stick around because I have a lot to say about the other 2 books too. I do have to say, Jack Edwards really knows his audience. This is the most Eleanor book I have ever read, actually. It's got so much murder in it, but it's also really girly and it's northern and I just, like, yeah, it's me. She drinks too much wine. It's me. Apart from, I am not an evil psychopath. So, in fact, if anyone has any suggestions of like main characters that are very similar to Irina, like that kind of unlikable main character, leave your recommendations down below. Anyway, back to Jack for the next book.
Okay, this is actually insane, but I bought this book for you, and then we arrived at the airport, and I saw your laptop case, and your laptop case has the same print as the cover of this book.
Oh my god!
And I was like, guys, I actually nailed it. So this is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by
I've seen this!
Gabrielle Zevin, and it's basically about these 2 people who meet in hospital and bond over video games, and then later in life they start a video game company together, and it's basically about this company and the trials and tribulations of running a company and going into business with your friends, and I thought that you would love it.
Oh my god, so fun! I'm going to show you on my laptop case as well. Wait, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's shimmery!
It is shimmery. Yeah, because your laptop case has this exact same thing on it.
So cute. That's adorable. Also,
Oh yeah, I wrote little notes in the front of each one.
we will have a look when I actually read the books.
Oh my god, I nearly forgot to read you guys the little note that Jack left in it. Remember? He wrote me a little something in the beginning of each book. So this one says, Ellie, we love an unlikable main character. Love, Jack. So true, bestie. I mean, I did just call the main character of this book some mean names. I called her like an evil sociopathic cow bitch or something, didn't I? Which she is. She is! But I do kind of low-key like her. Only because she is fictional. Let me remind you. I can only get behind shit like that when it's not true. So, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I know we were talking about my matching laptop case, but since it's been like over a year, I don't have that laptop case anymore. You're just gonna have to trust me on that one. So, as Jack said, this is a book about 2 people, Sam and Sadie, who meet as children, and they have very tragic childhoods for different reasons, and they bond over video games, and then they kind of lose touch and then reconnect as adults and go into business making video games together. And this book is really shining a spotlight on that platonic relationship between Sam and Sadie. There are some romance subplots with like other characters, but the platonic like soulmate duo in this book are the 2 best friends. But one thing I will say, like before I even read this book, I was hearing that commentary on the book that these 2 best friends are like platonic soulmates. And then I read it and I'm like, really? I don't know. They seem like very good friends. but they're not great with each other, you know? I think they really struggle to communicate and to understand each other and to help each other grow and to give each other what they need. They have a lot of like miscommunications as well, and I just think, I don't know, sometimes I'm reading it and I'm getting frustrated and I'm like, just fucking talk to each other. They fall out quite a bit, and I mean, this book does follow them for a lot of years, so maybe that's why. I mean, we all have a lot of fallouts throughout our lives, but I can't help but think that they could have been avoided if the two of them just communicated better. But other than that, I did really enjoy this book. I'm not gonna lie, it was probably my least favourite of the three, but that doesn't mean I didn't like it. I did. The only thing it's missing is a murder, is all I'm saying. Yeah, one of the romance subplots that I mentioned earlier is a student and professor kind of situation, which did make me cringe and recoil a little bit. Everyone is of age, so it is actually fine, but just the power dynamic of that, like, I couldn't fully get behind it. It is like a relationship that keeps cropping up throughout the book as well, so every time I hear this guy's name, I'm like, ugh, you again. But this story touches on a lot of important topics, and I think it addresses them all really well. Like, it talks about sexism in the workplace and racism and homophobia. I don't want to tell you too much. I don't want to get too specific. Maybe look up the trigger warnings. I mean, that goes for all three of these books because, like I said, Jack knows me very well, so he's given me some like very gritty and disturbing content here. So yeah, do check out the trigger warnings. I don't want to spoil any storylines for you, but I think the way that all of these things were addressed was really good. There is a really, really sad point in this book, so prepare yourself if you're an emotional girly. But I thought it was written so beautifully. I can't really tell you more about that part without spoiling it, and I so wish I could tell you. Like, it's so beautifully written. Oh, and actually there was one bit that I made a point, like I made a note in my phone to tell you about this specific line because it made me want to vom all over my own shoes. So there was a sex scene in this book, and I'm gonna read you this quote verbatim. She put her hand between his legs, wrapping her fingers around the cylindrical chamber of blood sponges that was his and every penis. What? You know what? It made me recoil in disgust, but I have since read about this book, and obviously that was done intentionally, the wording of that. Of course, Gabrielle Zevin wasn't like, this is so steamy, the cylindrical sponges of his penis. Like, no, it's not making anyone hot under the collar. Well, it was obviously done really intentionally because the character that it's written about is physically disabled, and throughout this whole entire book, he's always just finding himself very held back by his physical disabilities. He doesn't see any part of his body as special and in working condition the way that everyone else's is. He just kind of views his own body as like this meat sack that he is in. I mean, that's what we're all in, really, isn't it? That's kind of how he views himself. And so I think that specific way of wording a sex scene, as much as it made me like, it made my skin turn inside out, it was gross, but I think it was really good, and it was very memorable, obviously. I even wrote it down to tell you about it. But yeah, that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Oh, let's read the little note that Jack left me. Ellie, I will adore you tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Love from Jack. Oh my god, I love him. That is so cute. I'm on my period. It's brought tears to my eyes. Thanks a lot, Jack.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the pointers that I gave you. What were they? I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
It was basically, I didn't give him much intel on me, apart from, like, I like plot twists, I like dark shit. That was about it.
So far we have plot twists and dark shit.
And I like
also,
a romance subplot as well.
there's a rogue theme in the plot twists of these books, which I can't say right now because it's a spoiler, but if anyone has read multiple of these books, they're going to be like, Jack, that is really weird that you bought two. Like, if I had a nickel for every time that thing happens in the books you bought, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, and this is the second one that it happens in, and this is called Almond. It's actually a Korean book that's been translated into English, but it's so brilliant. It's about this little boy who, basically there's a part in your brain that detects fear and anger and those emotions, and his is like underdeveloped. It's the size of an almond, and it's basically about how he navigates life, especially after he doesn't have a support system anymore, and it's really special.
Oh wow!
And I like fell in love with this character so much. So
oh, so fun!
ta-da!
So this is my reading for my holiday. Very excited. Is there a specific order you want me to go in?
No.
Nice.
I think start with this one because it's crazy.
I'm gonna read this one. I will be back.
And our final book of the day, Almond. Oh, Luta is there. Feels like I'm performing to an audience. So, Jack gave you a very brief overview of what this book is about, but I'm going to kind of expand on that a little bit. So, the main character is a little boy, it's a child, with this brain condition, his almonds in his head. The brain condition is actually called alexithymia, which is a condition that makes it difficult for people to identify and express and understand human emotions in others. So you can probably imagine how difficult that made his life, especially growing up when he would react kind of the quote unquote wrong way to things, because he didn't understand that when someone cries, you have to be sympathetic, or when someone's angry, you have to be calm or scared. I don't know, like, he looks a bit weird in some situations because he doesn't react how people expect him to react. And the little boy himself doesn't really give a shit about it. It's his mum and his grandma that are really worried for him, and they really want to teach him to understand emotions the way that any other kid would. So right from when he's like a tiny, tiny boy, they're essentially trying to educate him and make him memorize all these different emotions and how to react when each one comes up, because it doesn't come naturally to him to cry when something is sad, when someone tells him that someone's passed away. You know, he has to learn what responses should come after certain things. And then tragedy strikes in this book and his whole entire life changes. In fact, tragedy strikes quite often in this book. It is quite the roller coaster. On the very first page of this book, you are introduced to a literal massacre. It definitely has some very gory moments, but obviously I loved that. If you're a true crime girly, you will love this one. And I just thought it was really unique that the book is coming from a child's point of view. I haven't read many, if any, books that come from a child's point of view. I mean, I guess maybe the beginning of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. But yeah, that was just a really interesting pair of shoes to put myself in for a little while. Especially because it's quite an adulty book. It's got a lot of grown-up themes in there. Not like adult as in like NSFW, but like as in like more mature themes, but it's from a child's point of view. Like, it talks about death and grieving and everything, and I just think it's all done so beautifully. And there's a really sweet friendship in this book between the main character and another little boy, and I actually have to read you this quote from the prologue. I've even underlined some bits here. But the bit that I underlined about the boy and his friend says, "This story is, in short, about a monster meeting another monster. One of those monsters is me." And I'm actually going to read you some of the other bits that I've underlined because apparently I really liked this prologue. "I won't tell you whether it has a happy ending or a tragic ending. Neither you nor I nor anyone can ever really know whether a story is happy or tragic." And that was a really intriguing way to set me off into this book. I love anything that's like a bit ambiguous, anything that's bittersweet. I like anything that really challenges your emotions and makes you feel some very complex things. Anything that makes your brain almost kind of like fight against itself. I guess how I was feeling about Boy Parts, when like one minute I felt really bad for the main character, but then the next minute I like hated her again. I just love a book that can take me on an emotional roller coaster, and this one really did. But I have to say, one of my favorite things about this book is nothing about the writing and more about the formatting. It's about the chapter sizes. They're so short. Let me give you like a little example. So this is chapter 11, and then we're already on chapter 12. Every chapter is it's between like 2 and 6 pages each, which might not be for everyone, but it's definitely for me. I love it. I think because I do a lot of my reading in short bursts. I do it in Ubers, or I do it like while I'm waiting for something to happen. I don't know. And it just means that I'm not leaving it in the middle of something, you know? I like that I can read until the end of the next chapter and then I can put my book back in my bag and I feel like it's nicely rounded off. It also just makes you feel like you're going through the book really, really fast, which for anyone that likes to like hack their brain into feeling productive, this is great. Again, I think I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I find myself recommending both this and Boy Parts all the time to people. In fact, I promised I would give this to my friend Charlotte. I was supposed to give her it the other day, but then I was like, oh wait, I've got to film that video. I'll give you it next time I see you. That's one thing I love about books and about reading, is that like you can share it with people. Like they go on a journey for many, many readers, and I think it's great. Oh, I have to read you the little note that Jack wrote inside Almond. Ellie, I hope this book captures your heart the way it captured mine. Love, Jack. And capture my heart, it did. Like, it really did. The very ending of this book, my soul left my body in a good way. I was really pleasantly surprised with the ending. I thought I had the ending all cracked out. I always do. I always think I know how it's going to end, and it's never how I think it's going to end. But yeah, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I'd kind of really got it in my head that it was going to be this particular ending that I kind of didn't want, but I had just kind of accepted in my soul that that was going to be the ending. But no, I was pleasantly surprised. So that completes my review of all 3 of the books that Jack Edwards got me. And I loved all of them, actually, honestly. Even the one that I liked the least, I did still really like it. I've been recommending this to people. Actually, I'm going to give this to Jack Manifold next time we go on holiday. I think he'll really enjoy all the gamery bits of it. Guys, my boyfriend's a Twitch streamer. But yeah, I'm dropping them. This was really fun. I'm going to do a lot more book content this year. I'm actually going to do a reading roundup of everything that I've read in November and December. So that'll be on its way to you very soon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.